And frankly, I think what I understand from behind the scenes is that President Trump does deeply care about the welfare of children, that he is concerned about harms done to them by the childhood vaccine schedule, that he has empowered Bobby Kennedy, Jay Bhattacharya, for a reason, which is that he wants the chronic health epidemic addressed. And so this would be a great place for him to score a major win with the public when he needs it most. So I hope he will do it.
Yeah, we're the land of the free, right? So let's just be as free as Denmark, Norway, Sweden, most provinces in Australia, Canada that have no mandates.
There you go.
So I completely agree. But I think President Trump, you saw his tweet or whatever on Truth Social that he put out the other day, where he gave a mandate to Bobby to look at all the other country schedules and to see what is the best thing to do. When you look at Denmark's schedule has 9 less, forget doses, I'm talking about how many shots, I'm talking about vaccines, 9 less vaccines on its schedule. They're just not even there.
Yeah.
They don't have a Hep B shot. They don't have an rotavirus shot. They don't have an RSV shot. They don't have a flu shot. They don't have a COVID shot. They don't have DTaP, no meningococcal. That alone. And it's not, by the way, it's not that it's just not on the schedule. They don't give these shots to kids.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know what their Hep B vaccination rate is in Denmark? For kids?
Is it 0?
It's like 0.01%. Because they only give it to Hep B positive mothers.
Yeah.
I don't even think, my understanding from talking to a Danish researcher the other day, you can't even get a Hep B shot for your kid in Denmark, even if you want it, unless they're born to a Hep B positive mother or they're at high risk. You know what their hepatitis B rate amongst children is? Not statistically significantly different than America.
Well, there you go. That tells you something.
Tells you a lot.
So I guess I would say, yes, I saw President Trump's mandate to Kennedy. I think we need another one on vaccine manufacturer liability. It's time for that to go.
Well, if Trump's directive is followed and the U.S. adopted, let's say, one of these schedules, so in the case of the Danish schedule, for example, that would mean 9 vaccines would lose their immunity. Mm-hmm. You don't need to repeal the 86 Act, because once they're no longer routinely recommended on the CDC schedule, now I get it. It'll be time limited until the next administration, but it would be for some period of time.
Yeah, it'd be good. But my feeling is I don't want this game anymore. As we said at the top, you create the niche, the monsters are going to evolve to fill it. As long as there's a target where they can escape the courts, then we're going to be stuck with these dangerous products. I want that exception removed. And you nailed it at the beginning. You said, look, this is the only product that has this immunity from liability. That's obviously not necessary if they truly are safe. They aren't. So let's allow the market and the courts to do what the market and the courts do well, right? They can render these things safe if we can liberate people to sue those who harm them.
I'll add, I'll make it even worse. Think about drugs that are only given to limited populations that we know cause a lot of harm, have a lot of adverse reactions. They can be sold profitably. Vaccines given to millions surely can as well, because what do they do with those drugs? Number one, they make them as safe as technologically feasible, so you can't sue them for design defect claims. And they disclose the actual risks of the product, so you can't sue them for failure to warn. Those are the 2 primary ways you hold a pharma company accountable for one of their medical products, for a drug. Why don't they just do that with vaccines?
Yeah.
Why don't they just make them as safe as technologically feasible and actually disclose all the risks, right? And if they did those 2 things, they would generally be protected as well. You got to really ask yourself why they won't just do that, and why 40 years after Hep B vaccine has been on the market, we still don't know it's safe enough to lift the immunity. If I would hate to be on the other side of this argument, to try and defend why they still need the immunity 40 years later, that we still don't know it's safe enough.
Right. And, if the immunity from liability disappeared, the number of vaccines that would be quickly pulled from the market would shock people, because what that says is they actually know which ones are safe and which ones aren't. And there are a lot that aren't.
I should add, I don't know if they'll be pulled so quickly. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And this is from, so when you look at drug products, like look at GLP-1s, right? Look at Ozempic and so forth. There are a lot of drug products that cause harm, but they make a lot of money. And so it's not like this, the second the company identifies the harm, they just pull the product. What happens is that the plaintiffs firms around the country, like my firm, for example, or other firms, we start accumulating cases, right? We get calls. You want to know what harms a drug causes? Call a plaintiff's firm. That's how you're going to know. Who's calling them for what harms, right? People don't call a law firm for fun and then just say, oh, this vaccine caused this or this drug caused this. They don't do that, right? They're calling you because they have a serious issue after the product. Now, as those cases get accumulated, lawsuits start getting filed. Eventually, those lawsuits get consolidated into called a multi-district litigation, where they all get consolidated into one judge before one judge for thousands and tens of thousands. That process often takes 7 years to a decade. During that period of time, the company is gauging what's going on, and they're often creating a kitty. So they're doing the math. They're going to sell 60 billion. They're setting aside 20, and they'll pay that 20 out at the end of the road. They'll still have made 40, and that's good. That's the works, including the time value of money. That works out fine. And you'll see that repeated over and over. Drug products go off the market all the time. That's often the process, what I just described to you. So I don't know if the vaccines will go off immediately. They make a lot of money. I mean, you're talking $50 billion, $60 billion. That's a lot of money to pay out in damages. So it depends on the product. I think, how quickly and when they go. But I think it's probably will just be that normal course that I just described. Because remember, when they lift the immunity, it's most likely not going to be retroactive.
Right.
It's not like anybody who's harmed. It's only going to be from that moment typically going forward. Typically, it depends how Congress does it going forward. If they make it non-routine, presumably it would be the same thing. So, my experience around, because it would put it in a drug category, would be that's how it would typically get, most likely get rolled out, which is why I guess to your point that if they go to the approach of making it non-routine, it would need to stay that way for long enough for that to happen, which, that process to occur.
All right. Well, I prefer my prediction to yours, but yours sounds like it might be born of a lot of experience.